Alafia, Abaru Aboye Aboshishe. I am Reverend Priestess Deva Divine from Exceedingly Glad Ministry, brought to you by Black Spectrum Network. If you would like to receive spiritual counseling sessions or readings, you can find us on our YouTube channel, which is Exceedingly Glad Ministry. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram at Exceedingly Glad Ministries or exceedinglygladministry.com. Today we are going to talk about the influence of social media and internet-based entertainment sites in our life. And this video is really geared towards spiritual people who are concerned with ascending, with evolving, with becoming the best version of themselves. The Bible says, "Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for they persecuted the prophets who came before you." So at this time, I'd just like to give glory, honor, and praise to the prophets who came before me, to the ancestors, for it is their footsteps who paved the way for me to be here with you today, and for that I am exceedingly glad. When we think about social media, internet-based entertainment sites, and by internet-based entertainment sites, I'm talking about things like Tumblr, Pornhub, Facebook, also, social media, Snapchat, Instagram. They're playing an increasingly important role in our lives. And although we are spiritual people, although we are aware of our path and our purpose, and we try to live on it, we, like everyone else, are subject to the weather of technology and social norms, social progression. And the other day when I was praying and meditating, I received, I'm going to just call it a channeling, because a message came through while I was meditating about social media and about the internet. And it hit me, I felt convicted, but I also felt informed, and I felt invigorated with this new information and new considerations, and I just felt obliged to bring those to you today. And so that's what we're going to talk about. I would ask you guys, let me back up.
Okay, so the way to keep you on script, repeat exactly what you see and then go off of that. So, because it's going to keep you on script.
I thought I did that. I didn't.
No, you've been been trying to prep people for what it is that you're about to talk about, but they kind of already know what you're going to talk about. They're waiting for you to get to this first really big point.
Okay.
Which is, this is what people want to hear.
Okay. Yeah. So I would ask you guys to consider the fact that social media and internet-based entertainment sites are actually becoming gods.
Can you explain on that?
Don't you have points for that?
What does that mean?
Oh, okay.
Break off the top of your head. What does that mean? That's a big statement.
I would ask you guys to consider that social media and other internet-based entertainment sites are becoming gods. We are worshiping these sites as sources for information. We are looking to these sites for validation, for how we're living our lives, for how we're wearing our hair, for the way we're preparing our food even, for how we're homeschooling our children, etc., etc. We're empowering these sites and offering them intelligence about ourselves and our family. We're feeding them pictures of our children. We're telling them our birthday. We're playing the games on these sites to let them know what our astrology is. We're linking them to our childhood friends. It's amazing the amount of information that we're willing to share with a computer program. And in doing so, it is my contention, and it is what I'm asking you to consider today, is if we are not turning these artificial intelligence, these programs into gods. Are we not making them more powerful? Are we not giving them more of a place in our life than what they actually deserve? A person on the other side of the world who has no knowledge of you and you have no knowledge of them, of their very existence. They can sit on the other side of the world. They can log into Facebook, for example, make a comment. You see the comment. You make their acquaintance at the same time. You click on their picture. Now all of a sudden you know their name, you know where they're from, you know how many children they have. You even know how many miles they ran on the treadmill this morning. And with the click of a button, now you and this person are friends. Webster defines magic as an apparent influence on events. If that is not an example of magic, I don't know what is. The social media, Facebook, how they get us because they connect us with people in the illusion of real time, people who would otherwise be separated by time and space. They eliminate the miles between us and the motherland, for example, between us and the Holy Land, for example, between us and these traditions that we're seeking to know more information about. How many of you have been contacted by a Babalawo who is in Nigeria or Brazil, for example? How many of you have been able to study in a Facebook group with people from all over the world who are giving you information that you seek? I would ask you to consider, regardless of how easy it is for you to connect to people on social media or on Facebook, there is still undoubtedly a separation. There's a separation between you and them. If I'm here and you're in Africa, if I'm here and you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, regardless of where we are, and yes, I know that time and space is just an illusion for those of you who are up on physics and know the behind the scenes, how all of that works, but it's still an agreement that we have that we are separated by time and space. So if these social media sites and these internet entertainment sites are able to dispel that illusion, then what lies between? What lies between me and my new friend in Nigeria? There's some separation there. And I would ask you to consider that between me and that person, or you and that person, there's a realm. And there's a realm in which entities can reside. And I don't know this is something that we consider when we're making new friends and when we're interacting with people on social media. You're not considering the fact that there is space in between what you see and what you type and where you are. There are spirits who live there. That's a dominion that you can't even see. Inside your phone or your computer, whichever one you choose to, whichever one you're using to access these sites, are crystals, quartz crystals, precious metals, all kinds of elements that have been, many of them, stolen or taken from Africa. We have wars being fought in Congo right now to get the items necessary to create these devices. But inside your phone is crystals, precious metals. You're empowered by what? What makes the phone ring? What makes the phone work? How are you able to send your thoughts across thousands of miles in real time? That's magic, you guys. Your phone, your computer, it's a magical device. If I were to sit here and speak into my crystal and tell you that my crystal is now going to do X, Y, and Z, you would probably think I'm crazy. But you have every bit of confidence in your phone, which is powered by crystals. This is ancient technology inspired by our ancestors and the Orumule. But I digress. The phone is a magical device, okay? I hope we can at least agree on that. And it's powered by electricity. But there's no cords. There's no cords to this phone right now, but I can still pick it up and use it. And it's because there's a cell inside of this phone that is a storehouse for for that energy. And as we know that energy cannot be created or destroyed, then we also know that this energy has been harvested from the primordial causes of creation. You guys, I'm trying to get you to understand what this actually is. I'm trying to get you to understand that this is a magical device, that this is a fourth and fifth dimensional object. It's an extension of your hand. It is an extension of your mind. It's an extension of your mouth. What does this mean? What does this mean? It means that when you use your phone, you are taking part in a spell. But is it a spell that you cast? Absolutely not. Is it even a spell that T-Mobile cast? Is it a spell that Verizon cast? Who cast this spell that made it possible for us to communicate in real time with people across the world? Who cast this spell that made it possible for us to exchange information, to collect information, to volunteer information? And if it is a spell, for what purpose? These are the things that I asked you to consider. I would also ask you to consider the fact that Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, Pornhub, that all of these places, all of these sites are themselves entities. They're becoming demigods, you guys. We're devoting so much time and so much energy to them. We're fueling them with our adoration. We're fueling them with the time that we give them. You guys will spend 30, 40 minutes on Instagram scrolling, but how long do you pray? How many minutes did you devote to the Most High God today? How many minutes did you devote in reverence to your ancestors? Is your refrigerator clean? That's what I want you guys to consider. I also want you to understand the spirits of the lowest levels of love and compassion are draining your time, which is your most valuable resource. If you're spending 30 minutes scrolling on your phone, that's 30 minutes that you are not improving. You're not growing. You're not evolving. You're actually feeding this machine. And to what end? You know, I could make a whole nother show on the conspiracy theories associated with social media. I could make a whole show talking about who cast the spell. And I probably will. But what I want you guys to consider at this time is, what are you doing? How are you using social media? What part does it play in your life? Are you just feeding this monster? Are you just bowing to this beast? Are you? And if you say that you aren't, then what in fact is it that you are doing? What are you doing? I also want you guys to consider the possibility that there are parasitic entities who are attaching themselves to you through these sites. I want you guys to think about what it means when you can't stop thinking about a comment that you read, when you can't stop thinking about a discussion that was being had in a group that you belong to. I want you to consider what is going on when you're having a great time with your family and your next thought is to pick up your phone and post it. I want you to understand what's happening there on a spiritual level, okay? We need to think about social engineering. What is that? What are we doing? Who are we trying to prove something to? In an attempt to show that you have a great life, you're giving information and intelligence to who and for what purpose? For what purpose? I want you guys to be mindful of your associations on social media. I want you to think about who's connected to who. And the reason I'm suggesting that is because you can unwittingly become prey. You can unwittingly become part of a coven or another group of people. The Bible tells us when two or more gather in my name, I will be there. But what if your reason for connecting is not to serve the Most High? What if your reason for connecting, whether you're aware of that reason or not, is not for something that is high in compassion or love? What if you are actually just being used? What if you're contributing to the demise of another person, or dare I say, a whole culture. In considering all of these things, I just want to offer you guys a few points to protect yourself. The first one I'm going to suggest is logging off of your phone during what we call the witching hour, which is really any time between maybe 2 and 6 o'clock in the morning. I know I am even guilty of literally sleeping with my phone. I will wake up and my phone will be next to me in my bed, okay? I would ask you guys to turn your phone off and put it away from you when you sleep at night. Log off of your phone during the witching hour. Close that portal. I would also ask you guys to be mindful of the information that you share when on social media. Everybody is not your friend, and that's the case in real life. You guys have known people. You have been friends with people for years only to find out that they are not truly your friend. But yet, you treat these people that you meet on social media as if they are. Be careful of what you share. Be careful of how much leeway you give people on social media, how much access you give them to your life. I would also ask you to consider the amount of time that you're devoting to social media. For every minute that you spend on social media, I would challenge you to spend that same amount of time in prayer and meditation. I guarantee you would have less use for social media if you did that. I hope that I have given you some things to consider. And I hope that in the consideration of these things, you are able to approach social media and internet-based entertainment sites in a different way. I would ask you to continue to think about this, and I would ask you to spread the good news. Talk to your friends, your real friends. Talk to your family, and especially your children. Consider that we may be contributing our intelligence and our information, and we may actually be in agreement with entities who have plans that we have no knowledge of, and who have plans that will not benefit us in any way. I ask you to consider these things. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you'd like more information, or if you'd like to follow us, or perhaps even schedule a reading or spiritual counseling service, the information will follow, and also it will be in the information box at the end of the video. Peace.
So fuel my fire, take me higher, I'll be your liar too. 'Cause when we're here, there's nothing better than the skyline view.